So the RNC has hired former Trump lawyer and election denier Christina Bobb. And they've done this because they want to surround themselves by people who will deny the results of the 2020 election, sing Donald Trump's praises, do anything they're asked of, and further demonize and vilify the Republican Party. And that's what she's doing a good job at so far. She was named in the defamation suit that was brought by Dominion Voting Systems. She also worked with Rudy Giuliani during the fake elector scheme. She's not been accused of any crime so far, but this is who they hired back because they know they can send her out there and she will stand up for Donald Trump. Check out this clip where she says that it doesn't matter if Trump's an insurrectionist or not. The voters should get to decide. Roll the clip.
The president is elected by the entire nation, and it should be the entire nation who determines who they want for president, whether they're guilty of insurrection or not. It's up to the people.
She's right that the American people do decide who becomes president. But what she needs to understand is that we do have a system and we do have rules in place that someone is supposed to abide by in order to be the president of the United States. We have the Constitution. We have all the amendments. The 14th Amendment is there for a reason. And it doesn't say nowhere in the Constitution, hey, let the folks decide if this guy's an insurrectionist or not. Find that in the 14th Amendment. Go in there and look and see if you can find where it says, oh, and by the way, we're going to write all this stuff down and we're going to put all these rules into place. But I tell you what, you just let the people decide if this person's a criminal or not. No, the system decides if they're a criminal or not, and the system decides if they are fit to hold office or not. And that system is put there to hold them to that standard. And if they do not stay to that standard, they're to be put out. That is why the whole system is in place to begin with. But man, MAGA is absolutely going for it. They're doing away with the Republican Party and they're going full-blown MAGA. And here she is. Check out this clip of her just running down the Republican Party.
We have a chronically impotent judicial system. I mean, Republican judges, not just Republican judges, the Republican Party for the last 40 years has become the party of cowards. And the judges that cowards appoint are also cowards and don't want to take up real issues that crazy leftists don't like. And the signature verification issue is a very real problem that they don't want to have to deal with, in my opinion. I mean, that's what we're seeing. Judges are scared.
So yeah, folks, MAGA is just absolutely going for it now. They're not even trying to include the Republican Party anymore. They're not trying to reach out and gain independent and moderate voters. They're just leaning into what has worked for them thus far. And what has worked for them thus far should terrify the living shit out of any reasonable person. You know, anybody else who may have caused January 6th to happen or whatever the case may be would have probably tried to go out and do some sort of apology tour and clean up their image. That's usually what happens when something gets completely out of hand and gets exposed for what it really is. Usually the next thing that happens is someone goes out on some sort of apology tour and tries to rebrand the image and make it look better. But instead, they've not done that at all. They are doubling down on that moment. And they're saying, we do not care if he's an insurrectionist or not. We don't care. We get to decide who's president. So think about that. They want to decide who's president, and they are a group of people who has no respect or no care in the world for any of the rules or any of the systems that we have in place. And Donald Trump himself has said that he could terminate the Constitution whenever he wanted to. He could negotiate a third term. He could be dictator on day one. None of these things have been deal breakers for them. They're still right there, and they're still going for it. And the RNC is hiring these kind of people and putting these kind of people around them to enable him the next time. And that's why, folks, we have got to keep our eyes on the ball. I know I say that so much, and I know I keep repeating this talking point, but it's one that needs to be drove home. I understand that you're not always going to agree with Joe Biden. I understand that he has done things that you don't like. He's probably done some things that's just flat pissed you off. I get it. But you got to admit at the end of the day that Joe Biden is a reasonable person and Joe Biden is going to listen to you. Do you think Donald Trump's going to listen to you? Do you think these people that he's surrounded himself by, any of those people are going to listen to you? No, their goal is to keep you silent and keep you compliant to everything they want to do. And we can't let that happen. We have got to keep our eye on the ball, and we got to continue forward in our fight to keep democracy in place.